Hello guys, Charles here and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to share with you a quote which really helped me with dealing with stage fright. And it also helped me conquer that feeling of getting off stage and thinking that you didn't really play as well as you do at home, or that it wasn't really happening on the night, or so-and-so was putting you off, and all these feelings of annoyance that commonly occur when we come off stage. So I come from a musical family, my dad's a musician, and for my entire life, any performing opportunity, I was made to do it. So whether that was a school concert, whether it was a church service, whether it was extra weekend schools and community groups, any performing opportunity, I was there doing it. And I remember always feeling some sense of nerves as a kid, and really sort of not wanting to do it. And my parents, bless them, were very much of the just get on with it school, which I always did. I would always get on with it. I'd always feel uncomfortable, feel nervous, and then it was done until probably a couple of days' time when I had to do it all over again for something else. Now, we commonly think by exposing yourself to these things, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And that is true to a certain extent. So I'm now 29 years old. And like I say, I've been performing for pretty much all of my life. So well over 20 years. The feelings of dread and anxiety certainly have changed. And I've noticed that they've changed in quite specific ways. For example, I have always sung, but I don't consider myself to be a singer, and I certainly would never volunteer myself to sing. However, if I am ever asked to sing, that's fine. I don't feel nervous about that at all because I don't consider myself to be a singer. So if I sing and it's terrible, then that's no surprise because I'm not a singer. If I sing and it's fine and people appreciate it, then great, brilliant. The same's true of the piano or the organ. I've always played the piano, and so if I do play the piano in a concert, it's normally because I'm accompanying someone else anyway, so they're the centre of attention. But I don't really care whether I present myself to the best of my abilities because I don't really consider myself a piano player. It's something that I've always done, but I've not invested the huge amount of time into the piano that I have into the guitar. So I've found that the nerves for those sorts of performances, when I'm doing that sort of thing, they're quite easily and commonly alleviated. The other thing that alleviates the nerves for me was whether I'm being paid or not. Now, when I play the guitar, I always get nervous. No matter what it is, I always get nervous. And the reason for that is definitely because I consider myself to be a guitarist, and I've put in well over my 10,000 hours, probably 20,000 hours. So I really feel a great deal of pressure. It helps if it's a paid performance. I am a professional musician, so I'm mostly paid for the work that I do. So someone has already kind of pre-vetted me, and I assume that they know what they're getting with me. The other thing, of course, is most paid guitar work is relatively simple function stuff where we're playing pop songs, reading from charts very often, whereas my focus as a player has often been in jazz and fusion and deliberately complex music. So when I'm playing those sort of things, I feel very much in the swing of it. And again, because I'm being paid and someone's already pre-vetted me, I kind of don't worry too much about it, but I certainly do still I care about how I come across in that performance. And so for me, the worst stage fright I get nowadays is when I play for free. So for example, going to a jam night and I'm volunteering, no one's asked me to be there, I'm volunteering my performance, and I really feel that. I get a gut feeling, that real stage fright. And the imposter syndrome's there as well, because I think, why should I impose myself upon this audience? That's always been the way I've felt about my guitar playing. Any concerts or any performances that were free of charge, I've always had that feeling like, why should I put myself out there to, I don't know, it's like I'm doing everyone else a disservice. However, nowadays, and for the last few years, I've kind of gotten over that. Yes, by exposing myself to performing, the nerves have reduced and the stage fright's reduced. And like I say, certain performances, especially if I'm being paid and it's an instrument that I don't consider myself to be an expert at, the nerves are pretty much gone. With regards to my guitar performances, nowadays I'm completely free of nerves. I don't really suffer from stage fright, and I don't suffer from the imposter syndrome of worrying about whether I deserve to be there or not. And I put that down to a quote which I had completely forgotten about until this week when my partner Carmen reminded me of this quote. I'd just condensed the intention of this quote down into a kind of feeling in my head, and so it was quite nice to revisit this quote this week. So without further ado, let me tell you what that quote is. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep yourself open and aware to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. Now that's a quote from Martha Graham, who I know very little about, but she was a New York ballerina and dance teacher apparently. I first read that quote probably about 3 years ago, and it really connected with the way I feel when I get that stage fright and that imposter syndrome. Now there's a lot going on in that quote, but what I took from it is this feeling that people deserve to hear you play, reframing from the audience's perspective rather than your perspective. I have something that only I can say. No one else can say what I have to say. Now, as Martha says in the quote, it's not our job to say whether what I have to say is better or worse than what someone else has to say. Now, that doesn't mean, of course, that you can't acknowledge if there was a concert and it was me and Chris Potter. Now, Chris Potter's probably got something to say that the audience are more keen to hear than what I've got to say, because Chris Potter's got a lot more to say and maybe the quality is of a far higher standard. However, at your average jam night, when it's local musicians of all abilities, I'm volunteering myself to be there. I'm doing the audience a favour. I'm letting them hear what I've got to say, and only I can say it the way that I've got to say it. And I'll only say it once that way because that's the nature of improvisation. And so it may be one of my best performances ever, or it may be one of my worst performances ever, but no one else is ever going to say it quite that same way. And that really helped me, to the point where I now volunteer myself for performances all the time, or at least I did before we weren't allowed to perform anymore. So I hope that resonates with some of you. I think part of why it was so impactful for me was partly because of how long I've been performing for. I'm sure, obviously, if I was told that quote at 5 years old, it wouldn't have really had much of an impact on my nerves at that point. Maybe even 10 years ago, not quite to the same extent. But also because I'm really into Kenny Werner, and Kenny Werner's philosophies about performance anxiety and that feeling of not performing as well on the night as you do at home. They were also very useful to me, but by having this second opinion that really reinforced those Kenny Werner opinions and thoughts, that sort of soup really helped me. And so, like I say, I kind of feel like I'm cured of my stage fright now. Who knows when we get back to performing this year, hopefully. There may be some sort of feelings of anxiety there when I come to performing again, but it's really made a huge impact on my playing. So I hope no matter what your discipline is, you can take these words from this world-renowned dancer, Martha Graham, and apply them to whatever it is you do. I think you've got something to say that no one else can possibly say. It's not our job to judge whether it's better or worse than anybody else's. Give it your best, don't be too critical of yourself, and be aware of what needs improving and work on it in the practice room. But don't come off stage and immediately start slagging yourself off because you didn't pull out that incredible set piece that you've been working on for the last 3 months. Keep working on it, and one day it'll just come out in your playing, as Michael Brecker says. So I hope you found that one useful, guys. Let's use the comment section down below to share our own experiences with dealing with stage fright and imposter syndrome. So go down there, read other people's comments to really reinforce the purpose of this video. If you found this useful, please do give it a like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and share with any of your friends who you think might also benefit from this quote. And as always, I hope you're all doing very well, getting plenty of practice in, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.
Roll up, let me embed a story you'll never forget. A drip, drip, you're drowning in debt now. You can't buy your way out.